No, be right back. Mm. Mm. Oh, call up Trudy on the telephone. That reminds me of riding around in a pickup truck at 15 with Hunya Henson going to Pickens on the Quarter Mile Bridge. But anyway, that was my childhood. We were holy terrors. We ran around. We did everything wrong that you shouldn't do, and we're still here, and that's good. We had. You're not going to go through life and be perfect. We all know that. Hello, I'm Chip Matthews filling in for Jameson Haygood on The Good Fight here on a Friday. And I enjoy my time filling in on his show. It's a show where you can talk about religion, you can talk about politics, you can talk about oligarchies, which Jameson's been talking about them for a while. And now Bernie Sanders has stolen his thunder and uses oligarchy all the time. And the BlackRock and all of these people that are taking over the world, and we're stuck here and go. And in Mississippi for years we've sat like and just said, well, it's not. Some of the things that go on in the world do not affect us because we can go hunting, we can go fishing, we can go get a picnic, we'll go to a family reunion and have some of the best food we ever saw. We'll go visit with grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, family members. That's what we do. That's what we do. And we used to all go to church. So we all need to start going back to church. We need to physically go into the building because even if you don't like the way your church runs now, your presence will help make that church back to be a religious experience. To me, I don't like going to the church and not singing the old hymnals. They have all these new weird songs, which to me sound like I'm being freaked out. Hold on. We're going to take this phone call. Let's see what's going on. YB, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I have a question for you.
Okay, go right ahead.
Next year's governor's election.
Yeah.
My theory is Albert's going to be too old to run. I know he is planning on running, but he will be the Republican nominee for governor next year.
Republican nominees for governor next year. I believe the doctor's going to run again. Wiltshire's going to run again. But you're also going to probably have, and don't ever say Delbert's too old. Delbert doesn't know he's too old. Okay. Delbert has an agenda that is different from all. And, but he's the lead Rhino Democrat once again. And I get upset every time somebody loses, like Chris McDaniels went into hiding after running for as a good conservative. And I know he's had issues and this and the other, but I have no idea who our leader is going to be. I mean, we've got to find somebody, and that's the problem with everything. I mean, and I don't know if we want to pick from anybody that's down at the Capitol right now. We don't need, Lynn Fitz, I'm not for. She won't enforce any laws of the state. She always gets on to the national issue. She does not. I have a letter where she would not get involved in election crimes. And then, of course, she doesn't want to do more work on the TANF case. And Shad White has exposed her for that. Shad White will be running, but I don't know if he's the guy. I don't know if he's good enough.
Who do you think the Democrats are going to put up next year?
Oh, I promise you it's going to be the same time. Presley's going to run again. He's going to run again. You can rest assured that that's going to happen. He has been laying the groundwork in these smaller cities, trying to help out in Democratic elections right now to make sure that all the cities remain Democratic mayors. And we miss all of this, that the Democrats are running the local government throughout most of the state. But the state leadership says they're Republicans, but they act like rhinos. They act like they're Democrats.
Yeah, Lynn Fitch's been a big disappointment, and I do like the ag commissioner. I wish he would run.
He's going to run,
good, but I don't know if he's going to run for governor or not.
Now, he wants to run for governor, and I know he wants to, because he's the kind that always wants to move up. But I'm going to tell you right now, he's got a job that he could have for life, staying right where he's at, and has more and can have more powers than anybody ever had since Jim Buck Ross. I mean, that's the fact. And I mean, I don't know if I would want to put myself in the governor's chair, because once you get there, it's 8 years of hell. Because and that's just it. And if you're born to serve, that's where you're going to go. God will call him to be there. He will be there. But
now, what do you think Tate's going to do when his term is up?
That's a good question. I think Tate would like to. I don't know if that's the thing is, does anybody really aspire to go to Washington at this point? I used to look at Ron Eller.
Bill Bryant wanted to go, but his wife didn't want him to.
Well, I mean, I can see that. I mean, look at what happened. You go to Washington and you come back, and you go to Washington, you may come back and be like Roger Wicker. Or God forbid, Michael Guest is slowly getting there too. And I mean, they're voting 57, 60% conservative, not 100%, not 80%, not 70, not close to the 100. They keep moving down closer to 50. And that's not good for us.
Michael needs to come back and be DA. He was a good DA.
He was a good DA, and he was the one handling
enough of a fighter.
He was handling my case in Canton for voter fraud. And then when he left, Bubba Bramlett just said, I'm not going to do anymore. This is it. And he threw it to the side, and that was it. And
he was a great DA. I wish we'd get back.
Yeah, he was a great DA. And I mean, he could be a great politician. But the thing is, you get to Washington and you can't follow the crowd. You can't. I mean, we have people in this state that their first year in at the state capitol is they just follow the crowd. And they told me that I'm trying to get my feet under me. I'm going to just follow what everybody else does. That's not what you do.
Yeah.
You're there to represent your people in your area. But the governor's race will be shaping up in the next 3 or 4 months. They'll start talking. But the next thing up is your supervisor races in your area, and also county judges, and also who's going to take Benny Thompson's place or any other congressman's place, because it comes up every 2 years. That job never stops. And for anybody to act like we never had a chance in 38 years to get rid of Benny Thompson, you're wrong. But I will tell you this, the candidate that ran last time, who got very close to beating him, was in the 40% of the vote. At one time, 49%, then all of a sudden some ballots came out of Holmes County that wiped him out. But the Republican Party did not spend $1. The state party did not spend $1 in helping him run his campaign. And they did help Michael Guest unopposed, and they did help Trent Kelly and all the others. But to replace Benny Thompson, they spent no dollars, and Benny Thompson represents 30 counties of Mississippi. You tell me.
I don't know his politics. Well, good talking to you. Enjoy the show.
Thank you. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why in the world do we have to put up with what we put up here in Mississippi with politicians who, and this is why, if you're the incumbent, you're going to win. I mean, you can win your case. You're going in. That's why I look at that Brandon race with Shanks in it, who is leaving the state house of ill repute and going to find him a great place in Brandon, in his city. That's where he wants to run and do the thing. And I think, and you have a incumbent, and then you have a guy that's been elected several times to the House, running against each other. That will be a quality race. It reminds me of his dad's race when it was Shanks versus Danks. If some of you are old enough to remember that. I mean, I'm an old guy. Okay, we'll be back with more right here on The Good Fight with Jameson Haygood. I am Chip Matthews on WYAB. Oh, yeah. And a thumbing down the road there. Yes, sir. The ride. Yo, that's a great song. I've hung out with David Allan Coe too many times in my life, I had to say. But anyway, I'm Chip Matthews filling in on the Jameson Haygood Show, and I was watching some breaking news as it came in. 2 people have been arrested in the mass shooting in downtown Jackson from this past weekend. 22-year-old Michael McLeod and Marquavius McLeod, 21-year-old, are charged with 1 count of murder and 7 counts of aggravated assault. There'll be more news on that to come. I can promise you that. But y'all, we live in a town that we need to do something. And people talk about the police. The police are doing everything they can. The government that runs the cities is what is failing you. You know, they are too big working this program and that program. It seems like we need to just break it up at the door and say, okay, first thing we got to do is protect our citizens. We got to make it safe for them to walk around. Second, we got to do is we got to take all the people, because we have people working in public works all over town. And those that are supposed to cut grass and pick up trash need to be cutting grass and picking up trash. And then if you need extra help, by golly, just there's plenty at the jail. Some of these judges could be telling people part of your crime for getting a speeding ticket or running a red light. If we gave tickets for running red lights and said, if you run a red light, you've got to come and clean up that intersection for 2 months. What about that? Think about that for just a second. You would have 50 people at every red light in Jackson, non-working red light, of course, cleaning up the streets. I mean, systems can be worked out. You have to change the culture of the city. You've got to make people accountable for what's going on. These judges that we have in Jackson, they're no good. That's why we had to bring in other judges with the Capitol Police. That's why Capitol Police was brought into Jackson. And a lot of people miss the fact that Capitol Police is a statewide agency, okay? That means Capitol Police could come to your town in Canton. It could come to Canton and help us. And I mean, they've really opened a can of worms, because all the cities that have problem, you could ask for Capitol Police and they should give it to you. And then and that is a reality. Capitol Police is a statewide agency. And if we needed it in every other city, we need to have it in every other city. Because if the local community, what's going on is the Democrats in these Democratic controlled hellholes that we live in the Benny Thompson hellhole district, they do not properly spend the resources to protect their citizens and to clean up their city. Those are the 2 things that you got to do. You got to protect it and you got to clean it up. Then after that, you can start doing some of the other things. But you got to do that, and then you got to take care of the kids, make sure the kids are on the street, make sure people are parenting, make sure your people are doing what they're supposed to do in their city. You know, the state legislature's down there spending money like it's going out of style. Don't have enough money for this, don't have enough money for that. We'll steal from the roads to put it into the budgets for the PERS, to where we make sure our retirement's good when we're gone. I mean, come on, people. Fund what you're supposed to fund. Fund what you can fund. Why don't you clean the slate and say, what do we owe today? And put it all where it needs to go. Why not? Why not? Doesn't that make sense? Just say, okay, let's do a zero, blank page. What can we afford? What are the essentials to run the state government? And then write it all out and forget these extra programs that get you more votes. You know, we loan money to people to build businesses. You know, a long time ago, we did it to open up a slaughterhouse that didn't work out, this, that, and the other. We do things. And I know we have to do that for economic development, but the reality is we need to do better. We'll be back with more of the Jameson Haygood Show on the other side. I'm Chip Matthews.